Why do prices keep going up? Have you ever wondered why the cost of goods and services seems to increase over time? Today, on No Money, we're diving into the mystery of inflation. Inflation is a crucial economic concept that impacts everyone, from the price of groceries to the value of your savings. But what exactly is inflation, and what causes it? In this video, we'll unravel the secrets behind this economic phenomenon, explaining it in simple terms and uncovering its various causes. Stick around as we explore how inflation affects our daily lives and what you can do about it. Understanding inflation.
Inflation massively affects you in your business and in your personal life, so you need to be aware of it and you need to take the right steps. So what is inflation? Well, just imagine it cost you £100,000 to buy a certain car, but inflation has gone up 10%. That car may now cost you £110,000. So your money is actually worth less because things are getting more expensive. When you're pricing your projects, you need to know how much materials have potentially inflated. In 2022, I think inflation was around 10% in the UK, but material costs were much more than that. And if you didn't account for that inflation in when you were pricing, then your profits are going to be hit badly. If you currently used to earning, say, £100,000 a year, but inflation is going up 10%, then really you need to earn £110,000 a year. So revise your goals every single year and use inflation as a bit of a yardstick to work out exactly where you want to be. And really, we want to outperform the market, so go much more than that rather than just trying to keep up with inflation.
Inflation refers to the general rise in prices of goods and services over time. It means that the purchasing power of money decreases because you need more money to buy the same amount of goods or services as before. For example, if the price of a loaf of bread was $2 last year and it's $2.20 this year, that 10% increase in price is due to inflation. The measure of inflation. Inflation is measured using price indices, the most common being the Consumer Price Index, CPI. The CPI tracks the prices of a basket of goods and services typically purchased by households, such as food, clothing, and transportation. By comparing the cost of this basket over time, economists can calculate the inflation rate. Now let's take a look at some of the causes of inflation. Demand pull inflation. This occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds their supply. When more people want to buy more than what's available, prices go up. For example, during a holiday season, the high demand for gifts can drive up prices. Cost push inflation. This happens when the cost of producing goods and services increases. When companies face higher costs for raw materials or wages, they pass those costs on to consumers in the form of higher prices. An example is the increase in oil prices, leading to higher transportation and production costs. Built-in inflation.
Built-in inflation is when we have an expectation of prices getting higher. We start to act as if in the future prices will be higher. So perhaps we buy more now. So that in turn increases the inflation and the prices of everything because people are more eager to buy now at higher prices at the fear of them going up in the future. So just the psychology or expectation of inflation or prices going up creates a certain built-in nature to the inflation and a spiral that feeds itself and becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Also known as wage price inflation, this occurs when workers demand higher wages to keep up with rising living costs. Businesses, in turn, raise their prices to cover the higher wage costs, creating a cycle of rising prices and wages. Monetary policy. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve, can influence inflation through monetary policy. When central banks increase the money supply, more money chases the same amount of goods, leading to higher prices. Conversely, reducing the money supply can help control inflation. Supply shocks. Supply shocks are sudden disruptions that affect the availability of goods and services, leading to higher prices. These can be caused by natural disasters, geopolitical tensions, or pandemics, which reduce supply, increasing demand and driving up costs for consumers and businesses alike. Inflation. Expectations. If people expect prices to rise in the future, they may act in ways that cause inflation to occur. For instance, if consumers expect higher prices, they may buy more now, increasing demand and pushing prices up. Now let's discuss some of the effects of inflation. Decreased purchasing power. As prices rise, the value of money falls, meaning your money buys less than it used to. This erodes savings and can reduce living standards, especially if wages don't keep up with inflation. Interest rates. Interest rates are tools used by central banks to control inflation. By raising interest rates, borrowing becomes more expensive, which can slow down spending and reduce inflation. Conversely, lowering interest rates can stimulate the economy, but may also lead to higher inflation. Uncertainty. Uncertainty caused by high inflation can hinder economic growth. Businesses may delay investments, and consumers might postpone purchases due to unpredictable price changes. This can lead to slower economic growth, reduced productivity, and decreased consumer and business confidence. Redistribution of wealth.
Redistribution of wealth. Inflation can impact different individuals and groups unequally. For example, individuals with fixed incomes, such as retirees, may find it difficult to maintain their standard of living as prices rise. Debtors, on the other hand, may benefit from inflation as they can repay their debts with money that is worth less.
Inflation can affect different groups in different ways. For example, people with fixed incomes, like retirees, may find their purchasing power significantly reduced. Conversely, those with assets that increase in value with inflation, such as real estate, may benefit. Now let's take a look at how they manage inflation. Monetary policy. Central banks play a key role in managing inflation. They can adjust interest rates and control the money supply to keep inflation in check. For instance, raising interest rates can reduce spending and borrowing, helping to lower inflation. Fiscal policy. Governments can use fiscal policy, such as changing tax rates and adjusting government spending, to influence inflation. Reducing government spending or increasing taxes can help cool an overheated economy. Supply-side policies. Policies that improve productivity and increase the supply of goods and services can help manage inflation. This includes investing in infrastructure, education, and technology to boost economic efficiency. Inflation. Targeting. Some central banks set explicit inflation targets to manage expectations and guide monetary policy. For example, the Federal Reserve targets a 2% inflation rate, which is considered stable and beneficial for economic growth. Now it's time for a real-world examples of inflation. Hyperinflation in Zimbabwe. In the late 2000s, Zimbabwe experienced hyperinflation, where prices skyrocketed uncontrollably. At its peak, the inflation rate reached 89.7 sextillion% per month. This was caused by excessive printing of money, leading to a collapse in the value of the Zimbabwean dollar. The 1970s oil crisis. The oil crisis of the 1970s led to high inflation in many countries. OPEC's oil embargo caused oil prices to quadruple, leading to increased costs for transportation and goods, contributing to significant inflation. Post-World War I. Germany. Germany experienced hyperinflation in the early 1920s. The government printed money to pay war reparations, leading to a massive devaluation of the German mark. Prices soared, and people needed wheelbarrows full of money to buy basic goods. How to protect yourself from inflation? Investing in assets. Investing in assets like real estate, stocks, or commodities can protect your wealth from inflation. These assets often appreciate in value over time, providing returns that outpace rising prices, ensuring your purchasing power is maintained despite the general increase in the cost of living. Diversifying investments. Diversifying investments means spreading your money across various asset classes, such as stocks, bonds, real estate, and commodities. This strategy helps mitigate risk as different assets respond differently to inflation, ensuring some investments perform well even when others don't. Inflation-linked bonds. Investing in inflation-linked bonds, such as Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS, can protect your investments. These bonds adjust their value with inflation, ensuring your returns keep up with rising prices. Adjusting budgets. Regularly reviewing and adjusting your budget to account for rising prices can help you manage the impact of inflation on your finances. This includes prioritizing essential expenses and finding ways to save on non-essential items. Earning passive income. Earning passive income through avenues like rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, or interest from savings accounts provides a steady income stream. This additional income can help offset the effects of inflation, maintaining your financial stability as living costs continue to rise. Inflation is a complex economic phenomenon that affects everyone. Understanding its causes and effects can help you make informed decisions about your finances. Whether it's through smart investments, adjusting your budget, or staying informed about economic policies, there are ways to protect yourself from the impact of rising prices. If you found this video informative, then don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel, No Money, for more interesting content. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.